Sometimes people imagine Connecticut as being full of tidy towns, pretty houses by the woods, and wealthy residents living peacefully while sipping artisan coffee. But behind that classy image, this small state actually hides some striking contrasts. Connecticut is one of the places with the most extreme income gaps in all of America. The richest 1% earn 37 times more than the remaining 99%. And yes, this brutal divide is most deeply felt in small towns, places that may look peaceful but quietly struggle with poverty, crime, population stagnation, and absurd living costs. So, let's take a closer look. The 15 worst small towns in Connecticut, ranked based on their economy, social conditions, quality of life, and everyday vibe. Has anyone here ever been to this town? Entering Terryville feels like arriving in a place that never quite found its rhythm. It's small, quiet, and seems ordinary, but its biggest problems come from the most basic areas: education and transportation. The schools fall below standard, with proficiency levels dropping under 50%. For a town this small, that's enough to make many families hesitate to stay long-term. What adds to the weird atmosphere is the high number of vehicle incidents. Police chases and car accidents often show up in local reports, as if its light traffic somehow becomes a non-stop source of drama. Terryville has a long history as part of Plymouth, with old homes that bring a nostalgic feel. But behind that facade, the town seems to struggle year after year, trying to catch up to a stable quality of life that always feels out of reach. From a town full of street activity, we move to one known for being beautiful, green, and expensive. Too expensive, even. Sharon, a small town in Litchfield County, feels more like a vacation spot for the elite, seeking extreme peace and quiet. The problem? Its cost of living index is 122.6, or 22.6% above the national average, while the vibe is super silent. Not the relaxing kind of quiet, but the kind where you start hearing the clock tick. Honestly, it's not far off from a fancy ghost town. Facilities are also very limited. There's no lively downtown, no real entertainment options, and even just going out at night is nearly impossible. The population is small and steady, but everything feels like it's moving in slow motion. Sharon is a strange mix: expensive, extremely calm, but empty for anyone who needs a bit of life. After an expensive yet dull town, now we come to a small town with much more active problems. Yes, Derby looks like a small industrial town with a strong historical footprint, but when you look at the data, the issue becomes clear. Property crime in this town is far above average for a place this size. Theft, burglary, vandalism, things that make residents extra cautious, even with simple stuff like parking their car. Derby has a strategic location near the Housatonic River and used to be a center for factories and warehouses. But when the industry declined, the economy followed, and many old buildings were left abandoned, which ironically made the crime problem worse. The town feels like a place that was once thriving, but now stuck in the past, still searching for a new direction. And yes, if Derby struggles with crime, this town deals with something even more basic: extreme poverty. Willimantic is a town with a unique personality, full of murals, artistic energy, and lots of students from a nearby university. But the reality is tough. The poverty rate here is 26.8% higher than the national average. That's a number that keeps many social programs working overtime. The population is diverse and dynamic, but economic problems have left many parts of the town behind. Old buildings from the textile industry era still stand, sometimes just as reminders of a past golden age. Interestingly, Willimantic is known for its frog bridge and its creative festivals. So the town has spirit, but its economic reality remains a heavy burden. From a town that's lively but poor, we move to a place called Hazardville. Hazardville is actually part of Enfield and has a pretty wild history. It used to be a hub for gunpowder production, and remnants of old factory buildings are still scattered through the woods. But today, its biggest issue is bleak job prospects. Unemployment is high, and future job growth is projected at only 29%, a number that makes many young people leave early on. The town is quiet, but often feels stagnant. Old houses and empty streets give it a somewhat gloomy, nostalgic vibe. Its location isn't bad, but it's not well connected to major economic centers, making many residents feel stuck in the same routine. And speaking of towns with street-related issues, Ansonia is a small town with a mixed vibe. It's quiet, historic, but often pops up in the news for car accidents and pedestrian incidents. Strangely, non-traffic crime here is actually low, but reports of property damage caused by vehicles are unusually high. The town has a small but charming downtown, with many old brick buildings still standing from its industrial past. But economic growth is slow, and public transportation is lacking. A lot of people see Ansonia as a town still trying to find its identity, somewhere between becoming a modern city or staying rooted in its old industrial character. Next, we head to a coastal city with its own set of challenges. As a port town, New London should have plenty of opportunities, but instead, it faces a tough mix of problems: high property crime, a slow economy, and a cost of living that doesn't match the quality of life. Its location is strategic, near the beach, ferry routes, and a naval base, but the city's development feels unstable. Many old commercial buildings sit empty, and the harbor district often feels quieter than it should. The city has historic appeal, but its social and economic burdens are clearly felt in the daily lives of its residents. From the coast, we move to a small town with a more unexpected vibe. This is Bethel, a quiet-looking town. Only the stats tell a different story. Random crime risk is fairly high, and several extreme incidents, like knife fights and a fatal stabbing, have brought attention to the town. The older parts have charm, but other areas seem to struggle to keep up with modern growth. The population density is moderate, but the community still feels unsettled. Many families move in and out, making the town feel more like a transit stop than a place to settle down. If Bethel brings surprises, this town faces a more classic issue: a weak economy and a cost of living that doesn't make sense. Winsted is an old town in northwestern Connecticut with beautiful scenery, but its economic reality is harsh. Unemployment is high, poverty is above average, and worst of all, housing costs remain steep despite low incomes. That combination puts a lot of pressure on residents. The town has a lovely lake and historic buildings, but many local businesses struggle to survive. In many ways, Winsted feels like a town still waiting for a revival that never really arrives. Next, we move to a larger town that faces similar unrest. At first glance, Torrington is the most urban small city on this list. That image, which should help improve residents' lives, actually turns into a double-edged sword, making its problems even more visible. Yes, Poverty runs deep here, and the town is one of the hardest hit areas in the state when it comes to drug issues, especially opioids. The downtown area actually has artistic potential, with theaters and galleries, but many other parts of town look economically worn down. The population is stagnant, growth is slow, and a lot of buildings appear neglected. Torrington is a town with a solid foundation, but weighed down by serious social problems. Then there's a town with a pretty unique name, Groton. Known as the home of the U.S. nuclear submarine base, this city surprisingly offers a quality of life that doesn't always match its reputation. It's ironic, but true. Many residents face high housing costs, especially when compared to the just average school quality and sometimes harsh coastal weather. Life in Groton ends up feeling symbolically split between military and civilian zones, creating a noticeably divided atmosphere. Rental homes are expensive, while public facilities haven't kept up with the rising prices. Groton is an interesting place, but not always friendly to newcomers. From expensive, we move to a town that's also pricey, but empty. That's the impression Seymour gives off, a small town that looks prosperous at first glance. Nothing seems wrong at a glance, but its housing market data reveals a strange issue. Housing costs are 23% higher than the national average, and a shocking 91% higher than the state average. Numbers that seem hard to believe, especially considering the vacancy rate here is also high. It means the market is unstable, expensive, but not in demand. The town's economy isn't growing quickly either, which makes many families hesitant to settle here long term. The vibe is peaceful, but sometimes it feels too quiet, like a town moving forward without a clear vision. Next, we head to two towns, often called the worst places for drunk driving. Of course, driving under the influence, never justifiable under any circumstance, but in certain situations, it can be hard to avoid. That said, there are many towns where even impaired driving doesn't pose an immediate danger. But these twin towns have earned an unfortunate reputation. They're among the worst areas for DUI in Connecticut. Drunk driving incidents frequently appear in police reports, creating a sense of danger for other drivers on the road. On top of that, public facilities remain limited. Many small commercial areas feel like they're dying, and the population has been stagnant for years. North Canaan and Canaan feel like places that haven't found a new direction since their old industries disappeared. From DUIs and a lack of public amenities, we move to a town called Danielson. It sounds like a person's name, and while this town is small, the social issues it faces are consistently serious. Drug problems, especially involving fentanyl, are severe, with many cases even happening in public spaces like parks or the town center. Concentrated poverty also makes it hard for the town to recover, even though it's actually located in a fairly strategic spot. In the downtown area, unrepaired old buildings give the place a dull appearance. The community has spirit, but economic and social pressures weigh everything down. And finally, we arrive at the most isolated town on this list. Putnam actually has a growing art scene, with a creative touch that sets it apart from other industrial towns in the region. But its isolation is the core issue. The unemployment rate here is a shocking 94.53%, a figure far beyond what we're used to seeing, mostly because it's located far from Connecticut's major economic centers. Public transportation is limited, and commuting to other cities takes a long time. On the bright side, Putnam is full of creative potential, but the economic situation forces many residents to move elsewhere in search of better opportunities. The town feels like the final stop before the state line, peaceful, but with very few chances. So there you have it. These 15 towns show a different side of Connecticut. It's not just about violence or extreme poverty, but about inequality, stagnation, and life pressures that often go unnoticed because the state is known for its wealth. From absurd living costs to a lack of job opportunities, from towns that are too quiet to those full of strange incidents, it all proves that Connecticut is far more complex than its elegant image suggests. And in the end, these small communities deserve more attention, investment, the right policies, and the chance to grow again. Because even in the richest states, towns like these should never be left behind.